His hair was shoulder length, his youthful face hid behind an abundance of shaggy beard. Over tight faded blue jeans and an old bulky knit, he had thrown his pride and joy, a sheepskin wrap. It had a hole through the center, through unfamiliar territory. The houses were one-room frame and most of them bare of paint. Lights were few and glowed softly behind polythene, which substituted for storm windows. Up one side of the deserted streets and down the other. Then onto the next block the old Chevy made its way. It stopped. The door opened, and the young man with the long hair and with the beard and faded jeans and the sheepskin coat got out of the passenger side and walked to the gate of the house that was duplicate to all of those around it. He walked slowly up the walk, trying to see the house numbers through the dark. He read them. Satisfied that this was the place, he returned to his car and opened the trunk and removed 2 large brown shopping bags like they use in the supermarkets. He returned to the front door of the old house and knocked gently. No answer. He knocked again. Then he heard the sound of children. The door opened, and in a brief second, through the dim light inside, he saw poverty at Christmas time. The floor was bare. 3 little children were playing there with an old cardboard box. The kitchen table was covered with tattered oilcloth and surrounded by 4 wooden chairs. A double bed sat in one corner, sagging but neatly made, and a small electric stove sat against the wall. A young woman, perhaps in her late 20s, but looking tired and older than her years, came to the door, scooping up the smallest child as she did. The other child, who opened the door, looked at the stranger outside and then stepped back, glancing quickly at her mother. "Good evening, ma'am. These are gifts for the little ones from Santa's Anonymous," the young man said. The mother looked a long moment at the long-haired, bearded youth with the outlandish sheepskin jacket. She took the 2 shopping bags filled with gaily wrapped Christmas gifts. She sat the baby down on the floor again and quickly looked at the bright display of parcels. Her eyes welled up with tears, and she could only bring herself to say only the almost inaudible, "Thank you." "You're welcome, ma'am," the youth said as he turned to go, "and have a very Merry Christmas." And then it happened. Just as his foot hit the top step of the old porch, as the door was about to close behind him, a small child's voice said, "Mommy, was that Jesus?" It hit Trip Hammer hard, and the young man stopped for the briefest moment. His chin dropped to his chest, and an almost overwhelming emotion swept through him. He walked slowly now to his ancient car, crawled in behind the wheel, sat there for a moment trying to get a deep breath. He wiped a tear off his bearded cheek and drove off into the night. It hadn't happened before, it might not ever happen again, but that small child in that small house on Maple Street gave this strange lad in the sheepskin coat the most beautiful Christmas gift he had ever received.